U.S. President Donald Trump has returned to the global stage, making a headline-grabbing appearance at the World Economic Forum in Davos. From the war in Ukraine to renewed interest in Greenland, energy politics in Venezuela, and the crisis in Gaza, Trump's remarks have stirred controversy and drawn global attention.
Donald Trump's appearance at the World Economic Forum in Davos was anything but quiet. The U.S. president reignited his long-standing interest in acquiring Greenland, describing it as a strategic asset critical to U.S. and global security.
The USA is the economic engine on the planet, and when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down, and you follow us up, and we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. I never thought we could do it this quickly.
President Trump ruled out the use of force, but argued that only the United States could adequately protect the vast ice-covered landmass.
Now what I'm asking for is a piece of ice, cold and poorly located. I have tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark, tremendous respect. But every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States. We're a great power.
President Trump accused NATO partners of failing to pull their weight.
It's a very small ask compared to what we have given them for many, many decades. But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. If we gave them the call, we probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that.
On Venezuela, President Trump claimed his policies had strengthened U.S. leverage over all rich nations, saying Caracas would benefit economically under his leadership. On the Russia-Ukraine war, President Trump insists he is confident a deal could be reached.
Ukraine and Russia lost just tremendous amounts. And I'm dealing with President Putin, and he wants to make a deal, I believe. I'm dealing with President Zelensky, and I think he wants to make a deal. I'm meeting him today.
Throughout his speech, President Trump also criticized Europe's migration policies, environmental regulations, and trade practices, while promoting tariffs as a key tool of America's economic strength.
Let's bring in Dr. Brian Rubin, who's Executive Chairman, 16th Council in the UK. He joins me for more on this development. Thanks for joining us on the news at 7. President Trump openly called for negotiations to acquire Greenland. He cited U.S. national security and also warned allies that refusal would be remembered. From an international law and a diplomatic standpoint, how dangerous would you say it is when a global power publicly pressures an ally over sovereign territory, even without the use of force?
Well, thank you for having me. His comments about Greenland at Davos were much more than a headline grab. So he chose the world's most elite forum to send a clear strategic signal. Geography, resources, and security still matter. Now, Greenland sits at the heart of the Arctic trade routes, rare minerals, and military position. By raising it, Trump shifted the conversation from diplomatic niceties to hard leverage, showing that the U.S. is prepared to negotiate, but strictly from national interests. Now, this wasn't about land for reason's sake. It's about reminding allies and competitors alike that power and strategic assets are non-negotiable. Now, whether one likes the tone or not, the message is clear. In global politics as it is today, influence follows control, not cuts.
Absolutely. He also suggested that parts of Europe are no longer recognizable, implying the U.S. would not be a weakened ally if its demands are resisted. Does this speech mark a turning point in U.S.-Europe relations as we know it? And how seriously should NATO allies take the risk of long-term alliance erosion?
Well, President Trump's remarks, about Europe, it's clearly a demonstration of his prioritizing of America and their interests over any other thing. That is exactly what we are seeing. So where America's interests and maybe his interests conflicts with the interests of any other group, he's shown the world that he's going to be more committed to preserving American interests. So yeah, sure, there is a turning point. We now live in an era of what I call geopolitical freelancing, where commitment to values, commitment to alliances are soon weakening. And what we see more, is nations pushing for their interests. And to be honest with you, this is not just about Donald Trump and the United States. We see this same game being played by India. We see this same game being played by Turkey, for example. Turkey, is a member of NATO, but they buy weapons from Russia, and there are many examples. India does mostly the same thing. They trade with America, they align with America, they trade with China, and still keeps. So it was what we call geopolitical freelancing, and we see Donald Trump perfecting that in today's global geopolitics.
The America First policy you talked about was amplified when he defended heavy tariffs, including the one on Switzerland. He also did portray them as leverage to force compliance. What happens now to global trade and economic stability when tariffs are used primarily as political weapons rather than economic instruments?
Well, it's bad for the world. And his approach to alliances and partnerships can be used more as political leverage than economic cooperation. So for countries like those in Africa, the honest lesson is that compliance or alignment with U.S. priorities will be measured less by shared values and more by strategic and economic incentives. So if your ties are primarily political tools, the leverage shifts. The U.S. expects predictable alignment and reform, not dialogue about mutual development or liberty alone. So this is the reality of Donald Trump's approach to international relations. And if any country wants to deal with the United States, as far as Donald Trump is concerned, they must approach it from this perspective.
Absolutely. Many at Davos saw this speech as a shift away from multilateralism toward coercive transactional diplomacy. There are conversations also as to whether or not we're witnessing the breakdown of the post-World War II rules-based global order. And perhaps time will tell what all of this would mean for middle powers like the UK, where you are, and smaller states across the world. That's our time. Dr. Brian Ruben is Executive Chairman, 16th Council in the UK. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.